This is from an old document, also titled The Black Sky Chronicles, but it's not a Pages document, it's a Microsoft Word document. Starting near the middle of page 39, characters and Fyrunes. Drake, in parentheses, I've written Drake Soren Adams, and then dash Fyrune Apollo A, because that's what I was thinking I was going to call his Fyrune back then. And it starts with, how is Drake raised? What is his life like growing up? Where is his mother? How often does she appear in his life? How often does Ixion appear in Drake's life? Where are Drake's friends? Who are they? What is their impact on him? What is Ixion's or Drake's mother's impact on him? I have answers to some of these questions, but not enough of them. Being 21 years old, he's old enough to drink. Drake is the son of the late Soren Adams, the man who went down with his ship when it was attacked by the Skyrider Rakesh. Soren had been trying to successfully transfer the last 7 Fyrunes from Earth to the colony M1 on Mars, but the onslaught of the Skyrider stopped him dead in his tracks. The only Fyrune that escaped was Archangel, piloted by Drake's uncle Ixion. Soren had been a Fyrune pilot for a time before he met Drake's mother. From there, he made his way to Captain Adams of the Fyrune Cooperative, and then died not long before Drake was born. Drake feels it's now his turn to fight in the cockpit of the Fyrune and take on the Skyriders in a battle that will hopefully end their reign of terror over the human race. He does not mourn his father's death, but holds on to it as a reminder of both the mission he has set for himself and of the man who came before him, who dreamed of a world for his son, a world where his son would not have to fear the Skyriders. Now Drake wants to make his father's dream a reality for all humanity. He regards every situation with a sense of determination and excitement, being careful not to let himself be swayed by emotions while at the same time holding on to what makes him him. He's not easily affected by anger or sorrow, but regards life as valuable, which is why he joined the co-op, because the creed of every Fyrune pilot is relatively the same: humanity first, mission second. What? His feelings toward others are always a good demeanor, and he is easily distinguished by his blazing red hair and his bright green eyes. As a Fyrune pilot, he regards the mission as always the most important thing, a lesson he learned from his uncle Ixion, who has been present in his life from time to time. He never lets himself be distracted by anything from outside the cockpit when he is in it, but sometimes he sees a Skyrider. The memory of his father becomes more potent, and he begins to lose his sense of duty. When he loses control of his emotions, he loses control of his electrokinetic abilities. Just recently, Drake was a one-man show, though he never turned down the opportunity to work with someone. He usually found himself on his own when it came to anything between a skirmish or a negotiation. If anyone stepped in or came to his aid, he gladly accepted their help or their alliance. If it was neither aid nor alliance, he took them on and did his best to rise to a challenge. He always considered himself a team player, but he has often found it hard to acclimate himself with others. He does have the ability to work with all kinds of people. Now, he can't wait to be assigned his first team as a member of the co-op. For any pilot, sitting on the saddle is a way of ensuring stability when piloting, but for Drake Adams it provides a nuisance. He would much prefer piloting a Fyrune without one. From the time he was 5 years old, Drake had been taught how to operate a Fyrune. As a small boy, Drake would play with toy Fyrunes, pretending they were slaying dragons. Sometimes he pretended he was the Fyrune, and then someone bad, quote unquote, would have to be the dragon. He and his good friends Riley and Lance would play Fyrunes versus dragons, quote unquote, when they were children, pretending they were the Fyrunes battling the evil dragons. At the age of 10, he was enrolled in Fyrune school. There he studied the history of Fyrunes as well as the making of Fyrunes and the ways in which to control a Fyrune. The best known way is simply by using the controllers. He also learned that not every dragon was evil. Some were able to coexist with humans, some fought alongside humans, and some are probably still alive. From there, he went on to the Fyrune Academy, where he learned how to operate a Fyrune and learned that one must not be distracted by noise from outside, a skill he could acquire very quickly. Now he's about to actually control one, after years of dedicated and careful training under Ixion. But he won't be controlling it with electrokinesis. That ability is something he still struggles with. Drake may be ready to control a Fyrune with the built-in controls, but he has always had the ability to control Fyrunes with his mind, an ability he practiced on various pieces of metal that he has crafted into Legos and Dodecos. Some of this material might be a tad more recent. He was born with this ability, a trait that was passed down to him from his father. The trait called electrokinesis, quote unquote, is something that was shared between his father, Soren, and his uncle Ixion, Soren's adopted brother. Ixion trained Drake for a number of years in the art and practice of electrokinesis before the boy knew how to operate a Fyrune so that Drake would be able to control his own ability and not have to rely on controlling a machine by hand, becoming something Ixion called a Phycore, quote unquote. Where I got that, I don't really know. Ixion wanted to make sure that no one knew that Drake could control a Fyrune using electrokinesis, quote unquote, because he did not want the co-op to use Drake as a weapon. Okay. To make sure that Drake and his good friends, Lance and Riley, didn't tell anyone he told them that the co-op would perform experiments on Drake, should they break their word. They later found out he had told them a white lie. A little white lie. As a Fyrune pilot, a member of the Fyrune Cooperative, Ixion knows a number of people in the co-op who vary in rank from ensign to admiral and has trained cadets from time to time. The same network of people known to Ixion has rubbed off onto Drake, who is familiar with a number of Fyrune officers like Admiral Hideaki Jirao, Admiral Randall Grant, and Captain Ellis Porter. When he first met them, they were Captain Hideaki Jirao, Captain Tanner Grant, and Lieutenant Ellis Porter. The connections didn't stop there. He also met a number of pilots and commanders, some of whom knew his father, as did Jirao and Porter for that matter. But Ching, I guess is the proper term.